Howdy, homesteaders. Today is my wife's birthday. Today is my wife's birthday. And I've got something planned for her birthday, and she's known about it for at least a couple weeks now.
Not really known about it, but known about it.
Yeah, she's known about it, but she hasn't known what it is. You know, guys out there, I mean, if you're married and, you want to do good things for your wife, I mean, do you like to surprise your wife? I mean, I do. I mean, to me, having a surprise is very special, very special. So we're gonna share that surprise with you today about what we're gonna do, and she still doesn't know. She still doesn't know what I have planned today, and we're gonna reveal that. But first, I want to talk about everything leading up to the surprise. So anytime you have a surprise, the other person's always trying to guess what it is. Always trying to guess what it is, right?
Really?
Yeah. How you doing, Jasper? Jasper always wants to get involved. Always wants to be included. Always wants to be included. So she's always trying to, ask questions, kind of fishing for answers, right? She throw her fish hook in and see if she gets a bite, pull on it, right? And then, what kind of things would you ask, honey?
What should I wear?
Yeah, what clothes
should I wear?
Oh, okay.
Something nice, just something every day.
Right.
Does it have to be something special, or are we going to be cold or warm, or?
What time of day is it going to happen?
Yeah. What kind of shoes should I wear?
What kind of shoes should she wear? Yes. And if you answer those questions the way she's hoping you answer those questions, then it's going to give it away. It's going to give away these little clues, and she's going to put all the clues together, and she's going to figure it out ahead of time. So, my responses was, you're going to end up wearing the clothes that you're going to end up wearing. You're going to put on the shoes that you need to put on at the time. We're going to leave when it's time to leave. Bulletproof. Bulletproof answers. Bulletproof. And just so you know, it's not some cruel, mean thing that I do. I enjoy making a surprise, and my wife enjoys being surprised. She does enjoy that as well. So it's fun. It's fun for both of us. And if it wasn't fun for both of us, obviously I wouldn't be doing it. So, but we do have plans today, and it's something. See, I'm about ready to give a clue, and you see how fast she figures it out once I give the clue, right? So you know what I mean, how fast it all could be over, right? It's going to be something that she likes to do.
Hiking.
There it is. You see how fast that was? That's all I had to say. One little clue, it gave it all away. But today's her birthday, so it's okay to give it away today. We're going hiking today. Yes. We're going to go hiking up at Mammoth Cave National Park.
Woohoo!
And we have reservations today for 2 p.m. And we're going on a cave tour at 2 p.m. It's a different cave tour than last time. The last time we went to the Niagara Falls cave tour.
That was a good one.
And in case you've never been to Mammoth Cave National Park, the reason why it's called Niagara Falls is because they got I guess they're called stalactites that come down from the ceiling. And the stalagmites come up from the ground, but the stalactites that's coming down from the ceiling it comes down from the ceiling in such a way that it looks like a big waterfall. It looks like a big cascading waterfall, but it's all rock formations. It's all limestone. And it's really beautiful limestone, very beautiful to look at. It's of all the cave tours they've got, it's probably the most visual of all the cave tours.
Don't look up.
Yeah, there's usually bugs crawling on the ceiling and stuff. It's a cave. It's a cave, so it's the real thing. It's not a make-believe cave. It's a real cave. And there's a whole cave system there. And anyway, well, let me give you a little background about Kentucky. Now, Kentucky is built on a topography, you know, the ground that it's built on. It's built on a type of ground that's called cursed. And I don't mean cursed as in like cursed by God. It's not the same cursed. It's not C-U-R-S-E-D. It's K-U-R-S-T. K-U-R-S-T. Cursed. And it describes the type of rock that's deep below the topsoil in Kentucky. And what it is the rock is in such a way that there's a lot of cracks through it. It's filled with cracks. It's really craggy type rock. And because it's like a really craggy type rock filled with cracks and things like that, when it rains, the water drains down and goes to these cracks and starts to erode these cracks quite quickly, actually. And it creates these pockets within the rock because the water washes through, erodes, takes some of it away, takes it somewhere else, and it starts creating like a pocket under the earth within that rock. And the pocket gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it becomes a cave, you know. So there are thousands of caves in Kentucky, and they're still discovering new caves all the time. You know, and the reason why they're discovering new caves all the time is because with the way Kentucky is made, new caves are being formed all the time.
There's also a lot of sinkholes.
Right. I was going to get to that.
Oh, sorry.
But it doesn't take millions of years to make these caves. And if these caves are closer to the surface, when you get one of these pockets that are closer to the surface, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger until the surface becomes thinner, 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 then it breaks through, right? And that's a sinkhole. That's a sinkhole. Whenever that breaks through, and now there's a big hole in the ground where this cave was underneath. And now you got a big hole in the ground. It's a sinkhole. And sinkholes do happen from time to time in different parts of Kentucky. The Corvette Museum, which is in Bowling Green, Kentucky, there's a Corvette Museum there. They actually had a sinkhole open up underneath their display of their cars, and it swallowed up all their Corvettes.
A lot of them.
Or, you know, all the ones that were on display there. They
Yes.
all fell down into that hole. All these really expensive Corvettes, these collector's items Corvettes, were sucked down into the earth. You know, about people creating these trophies, people creating these idols, and they start worshiping these things. And then, you know, then it gets swallowed up in the earth. You know, so there it is. But, you know, things are just things, you know. Metal is just metal. Rock is just rock. It's nothing, you know. You can make it look fancy. You can make it look pretty. But that's about as far as it goes, really. That's about as far as it goes. It's not any more than rock. It's not any more than metal. It's not any more special than a polished piece of steel. Okay, that's as far as it needs to go, right? It can look pretty. It's okay. But it doesn't need to, people take it further than that, and they don't really need to. Okay, I guess I did get into it, all right? But it got swallowed up in the earth, right? And then they salvaged them out. And then what they did is this is what they do with most sinkholes, if you can afford it, if you have the money for it, is you fill the sinkhole full of concrete. And they pump concrete down into the hole, and it fills up the cavity with concrete. And that's what they did. They filled up the whole cavity with concrete, and they repaired it, and then they put their display floor right back the way it was. And it is a national park. You know, it's part of the same park system as Yosemite. So it's a national park. It's a national park. So it's definitely worth coming to, definitely worth seeing. Now, the cave tours, they have a price, they have a cost, which I believe is very reasonable. It doesn't cost that much. The tickets are very reasonable. And it just makes sense. You got to pay for your employees. There's a park ranger that takes you down into the cave, and gives you history, gives you information, tells you all kinds of things about the history of the caves, when they were first discovered, different people that were involved and turning it into a way of making money in the area, and then eventually becoming a national park. They give you all that history. You should be able to pay for that. That should come with a cost, and it does. And it's not that bad. Okay, but if you go there hiking, you can go there and you can hike, and obviously that's free. It's a park. You go there, you park your car, you go hiking.
Some nice trails.
Nice trails there. You can have short trails, long trails, medium-sized trails. Depends on how long you want to go hiking.
And what we did last year.
I can't remember what exactly we did last year. I know we went to the caves.
We went to the caves last year, but you also you took me on a canoe ride.
Oh yeah, we went on a canoe ride last year.
Down the Green River.
Down the Green River. So that's what we did last year. And I don't know, I didn't really think about that today. But I guess that's possible.
Ooh.
All I had today planned was we would go do some hiking. And then by 2 o'clock, we got to be at the cave tour. But it's a really good park. They got canoe rides, they got hikes, they got all kinds of things you can do. The canoe rides cost money, but the hikes are free. And also you can picnic out there, find a nice little spot to picnic. They got camping. The camping there, just like any national park, the camping is very inexpensive. It's very cheap. I remember when I was traveling around the country, sometimes I would park my RV on a national park because their rates and their prices were far cheaper than any RV park I could find. Far cheaper. And a lot of times, all I really needed was a place to stay for a day or two as I was traveling. And I just needed electricity. And they have electrical hookups. So really, I just needed electricity for the air conditioning. And it was a lot cheaper than an RV park. So camping at national parks are very affordable, and they're there for us. They're there for the public to use. So we're going to go and enjoy some of that today.
I'm excited.
Get some hiking in. And we're going to try to include you on my wife's birthday today. But obviously, you're probably not going to see the whole day. We'll just give you little snippets as we go. And the only reason why I'm really including any of this at all is because it is related to nature. It is related to getting outdoors. It's something I think that people who are homesteaders can really relate to. And also with the history behind a lot of these caves and a lot of these things, a lot of people who are homesteaders are really into history, really into historian type things. Historical facts are very interesting to those of us that homestead. One of my most favorite things I used to do is I used to go down to the creek. And I had this creek that I would explore. And to me, that's what I was doing. I was an explorer, right? I was on an adventure. I was going to explore and find what I was going to find. And this creek was actually pretty interesting. It had different parts of it. In one part of the creek, someone had put these big retaining wall stones. And I'm talking about stones that are like this wide and like that and like that. They look like they weighed about a ton for each one of them. And someone took these big stones and they laid it into the side of this creek bed to be like a retaining wall for the side of this hill that came off of it. And I used to climb up that retaining wall, that stone retaining wall, and it was kind of staggered a little bit. The ones at the bottom were down here. Then the ones on top of that were like kind of stepped back a little bit. And the ones that stepped back a little bit. So it's kind of like that, right? And I would climb up that wall, and I was mountain climbing in my mind. I was mountain climbing. I was on an adventure of climbing a mountain and all that stuff. And it was great for a boy my age at that time. So I really enjoyed doing that, and I'd find all kinds of things like frogs and tadpoles and crawdads, and I'd catch the crawdads or crawfish, whatever you want to call them. I'd catch them and play with them, and sometimes they'd pinch me, and I know the ones with the little tiny pinchers, you think those little pinchers can't do nothing, but they can draw blood, I can tell you that. Those little things can draw blood, those little ones. And those really big ones, you think they'd probably take your finger off, those are really weak. They don't have much strength to them. They sit there and go like this all day long with those big claws. They don't do nothing to my finger. But the ones, those little ones, those things would they'd tear a hole in my finger and like start bleeding. So a little tip about crawdads: watch out. And then I'd find snakes, all kinds of things I found. So I really was on an adventure. So think of a national park as something similar to that. You know, you're on an adventure. You're going to see what you can see, and it's something you're probably going to see something that no one else has really seen specifically. You know, you might see an animal. You might see different things. You might hear things. A bird comes across your path or whatever, and your experience is your experience.
A beer.
You know, it's experience that you're having, and you can enjoy that as being genuine, your own genuine experience outdoors.
I've always liked hiking. I really started liking hiking about 6 or 7 years ago. The Appalachian Trail, and I lived in Virginia before I met my husband for a little while, and with my daughter, and she lived in an apple orchard right at the foot of Appalachian Trail, and I would actually just take my Bible and take something to eat, and I'd hike up into the woods. I had a special place along the AT that had a fallen tree that I'd go sit and read my Bible and talk to the Lord, and it was very special. And then I would take days where I would it would just be day hikes, but I would leave early in the morning and I would just hike the AT. I'd go from Depriest to Three Ridges, up over the Three Ridges. If some people might know about those areas of the Appalachian Trail.
And you can look it up on Google. You can actually Google the Appalachian Trail and type in
like the Priest in French. Yeah.
Yeah, it's D-E and then Priest, and you can look that up on Google, and you can actually use a 3D Google to zoom in on those trails, and you kind of get an idea. And we actually one time we used Google to put ourselves at the very top of Depriest and look around as if you're actually standing on it.
Yep. I took him with me once. I was able to, by Google, I was able to let him to see what I saw.
So we did a little virtual hiking on Google, and you could do that. It's actually kind of fun. We definitely have a things planned at 2 o'clock. So we actually got to get going. You know, we got the dog. We're going to have to process him and put him away. And when I say process the dog, it doesn't mean we're going to process the dog.
That's our saying.
It's just our saying. We run him through his process of getting fed, going outside, stretching his legs, getting all ready to where we can put him back into the crate.
Get his fish biscuit.
Yeah, give him his treat with his
cookie.
bribery. We bribe the dog. We bribe the dog to go into the crate, and it
boy.
works.
He would go. He's a good boy.
It works. See, he's already interested.
He's a good boy.
You're just talking about it, talking about bribing him. He's all
cookie?
for it.
A fish
So
cookie?
it's too early now, honey. He has to do other things. I got to get him processed first. Run him through his process, and then he's good to go for quite a while. So we're gonna go do that today, and yeah, well, you know, yeah, it's all part of the process right here. He's got to get his pettings in. It's all part of his process.
He's a good boy.
He needs it. It's good for his mental state. He doesn't seem to mind. He doesn't seem to mind that we make fun of him all the time. He doesn't seem to mind that at all. He seems to always want to be involved in all that. So, all right. So enough about all that. We're going to go ahead and get ready. We're going to head out, have breakfast, and get the day started.
Thank you, dear.
Oh, you're welcome.